Alrighty then, ladies and gents. This time around we're uploading again. I'm very pumped for this league, so I decided, you know what? Let's just give it another stab. Let's give it another go until probably summer vacation's over, because you know how I am, right? But I feel very pumped for this league. I like my draft. I like a lot of the people in this league. Feels very competitive. I feel like I could learn a lot of things here. I don't know, all in all, looking like a good thing. Maybe I can even find someone to be like a co-uploader, and maybe we'll make like a new channel and just co-host that channel, and just upload mons as we go. I'm ready. I don't know. I'm probably gonna send a text to a person about this later tonight. See if he has time or not, because I want to obviously create content that is very competitive, obviously create content that I would watch as well. So hopefully I can bring it to you guys. Hopefully you cannot hear the super ass loud scooter. I live on the 7th floor. I have my door open of the balcony, but I can still hear that thing really well. But I just recorded this thing already, and for whatever reason my computer was just like, nah, I'll mess up the audio. So I have a new computer, so I still need to toy around with settings and etc. What works for this thing and what doesn't. But let's just get straight to it, right? I've already been talking for a minute and a half. So what we're doing this time around is we're doing a league, and the league's great. But I got last pick. Which also means that you have you're not gonna get the best mons out there. You're not gonna get your Lando T. Apparently, we're not gonna get Mega Scizor. We're not gonna get well, Victini used to be up there, not as much anymore. But you know, like the top draft mons. Celesteela definitely not gonna go our way this time again. I really want to draft Celesteela because I feel like I could use it really well, and this is just going to be fat and annoying. But we're not going to use those. Instead, because what this league did is that it introduced a lot of like borderline Pokemon, like for Draft League, which is Mega Mawile. Apparently Tapu Lele. I completely disagree with letting Tapu Lele in. However, they let Tapu Lele in. That thing's in, and then also Magearna, but they cost 30 points, and as you can tell, none of my mons can be even close to 30 points. They're super expensive. We got 120 points total, so you're gonna use a quarter of your money just on one mon, which then makes the rest of your draft probably quite shitty. Oh well, here we go. So the first thing I drafted was Zygarde 50%. Zygarde 50% is a mon I've always wanted to use. I used it in like a draft tournament, where you could only draft 8 mons, and what I discovered there is that there is a Zygarde set that can destroy every team, especially the smaller ones, but maybe can also do that in a bigger kind of draft. Whether it's a Choice Band set, whether that's a Dragonance set, or a Coil set, or a Subtoxic set, or whatever kind of set we have, or just like a Rest, Sleep, Talk, shenanigans kind of thing. There are so many different setup options that this thing has, and the fact that it gets 1,000 arrows, that it can even hit the flying types with the ground move, is just phenomenal. So I really want to use Zygarde in draft form, and that's why that's there. Second mon I went with is Clefable. And Clefable is most of the time going to be a fat mon. It's most of the time going to be either Magikarp or Unaware, with a lot of defense, a lot of HP, and a Moonblast, and a T-Wave, and a Toxic, and you know, soft boil kind of shit. Also, a lot of the time going to be my Rocker. So most of that, yes, we all know what Clefable does. However, I also want to use Clefable in a more offensive way, maybe like an offensive wall as well, with just because it gets a lot of utility. Next to it, you can see Sylveon on the screen. Resumeril drafted that one. But it's actually a better Sylveon. The only thing that Sylveon is better is a spec set, and that's about it. Because Clefable gets way better coverage than Sylveon does. Also gets the Wish Protect shenanigans. Can run a Life Orb Magikarp set. Gets great coverage with Ice Beam, Flamethrower, T-Bolt, you name it, and Azu. Clefable probably has it. Also gets Psyshock, which is really nice. So, I'm very fond of Clefable, and I'm really looking forward to use it in different ways as well. Just try and use my Clefable offensively, or just as a nice pivot, instead of just something that's fat and sits there, clicks Calm Mind and wins games, which I'm also going to use. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I'm just gonna sit there and like your team just straight up loses to Clefable, and I'm gonna make use of that. It's very simple. It's very straightforward. I'm gonna use that. Next off, so once again, Zygarde, Clefable, very varied of mons, and that's kind of the theme I went with. I have a couple of one-dimensional mons, like Mega Blastoise, and then also Doublade, and probably also Cradily and possibly Durand. Well, possibly Cradily and definitely Durand, I should say it like that. Next up, Mega Blastoise, which is one of the one-dimensional mons that I meant. Mega Blastoise is just fat, it sits there, and it hits hard. I don't like my walls to be too passive. I want to play aggressively throughout the entire game. I like this bulky offense kind of style, and Mega Blastoise does it really well. I don't have a lot of things that are weak to rocks. In fact, Tornadus Eye is the only thing that takes 25% or more from rocks. So in that regard, I'm really good. So I also really want to keep my hazards up because I have 3 rock setters. I have a Clefable, I have a Kecleon, and a Cradily. Cradily I think I'm gonna bring a lot this season, but I'm not sure yet because surprisingly walls a lot, and it works well with Clefable because it's very weak to ice and fighting. Also steel, which they have in common, but steel offensive types aren't super common. But I obviously have ways of dealing with that. We'll get to that later. But especially Doublade, of course, and also Mega Blastoise. We're talking Mega Blastoise right now. So Mega Blastoise, its move pool is very, very straightforward. It gets the Dark Pulse, it gets the Aurasphere, it gets Scald. I want to fish for burns, obviously, all season long, and I want this thing to spin. And I want a spinner that's not annoying to bring every week. I don't want that last-ditch effort spinner like a Sandslash or whatever. I don't want that kind of dead weight on my roster. I want every mon to be useful. I want every mon to be able to be brought most weeks, and I think I have that with this draft. Obviously, I'm not going to bring Kecleon or Cradily every single week, but that makes sense, right? Because we cannot expect that from your lower tier mons. Next up, we have Reuniclus, and talk about variety, right? Reuniclus is one of the mons that can do speed control in the form of Trick Room. I have another one in the form of Tornadus Incarnate, which can do that in the form of Tailwind. And then apparently Durand gets agility and can baton pass into things, which is something I really look forward to using. Maybe I don't get around to it, but because usually I don't tend to get super creative with my drafts, but maybe this time around it's just like, well, if I pass into Hariyama, this agility, then he just straight up loses, then I'm gonna do that, obviously. I'm gonna attempt doing that. Reuniclus obviously very bulky, but also very offensive. It's like the same with Mega Blastoise, but it gets good recovery. It doesn't get rid of hazards, but it gets very good recovery, and it works really well with Clefable, Doublade, and probably also Cradily. It can take most of the hits a Cradily can't take, so it is actually pretty sweet defensive core. Doesn't necessarily work the other way around, but I have a lot of potential defensive mons, so I don't worry about weaknesses at all. So Reuniclus is just a nice addition to this team, and it always, for some reason, either doesn't fit my draft anymore as soon as I can draft it, because I don't want to get it like first, second, or third turn. This time I got it 4th round, but it never fits, or I already have, or it already got sniped. Someone else, like Reuniclus, is a very desirable mon, so obviously that's not a thing I want to do. I'm just gonna turn off the music a little bit. Just for me though. So next off is Torn Eye, which is my second speed control mon in the form of Tailwind. It's a very good prankster user. Can also set weather and stuff, but I don't have anything that really benefits from weather, so that's just a side note in case maybe I want to change my draft and draft like a Kabutops as well, something along those lines. I could very much do that. But yeah, so Torn Eye, great move pool. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it my Z captain, but I really would prefer Zygarde being my Z captain over the combination of Tornadus and Durand, because we got 20 Z points, and the Z points work in a way that the amount points your Mon has, that's how many Z points you need to spend on it to make it your Z Mon. So I had 20 Z points, and then after Zygarde became, I had 2 Z points left, and obviously I couldn't do anything with that or about it. So yeah, that's how that works. Drain's Eye, you're definitely looking forward to using that one. It's such a good mix attacker. It can be physical, it can be special, it can be mixed. It keeps me momentum with U-turn as soon as it can beat specific things. Once again, very unfortunate I can't make it my Z user because Hurricanes that don't miss and get a power boost. Wow, that's just phenomenal. But we're probably going to bring in a lot of acrobatics this season and see how that works. So next up we have Jolteon. And I'm very much looking forward to use Jolteon. Jolteon is another thing that has speed control in a sense, because as soon as you run like a Flame or Quick Feet set, there's nothing in this game that can outspeed that. It is just fucking ridiculous. Base 130 or 394 speed, max speed timid, and that doubles well over 700, so that's just insane. So Jolteon outspeeds every possible Scarfer in the game. Every possible agility user in the game as well. Maybe that's not true, but I don't know. I need to look into that. We'll see as we go. But obviously, so Jolteon's super fast. Jolteon also there to keep me in momentum with the Baton Pass, with the Volt Switch. And most of the time, Jolteon's going to be more of a one-dimensional Mon that helps me revenge killing things. So most of the time it's just gonna come in late game, try and clean, or just gonna be like something that revenge kills. So and I wanted something else that was immune to electricity apart from Zygarde, because that's pretty easily ice beamed or HP iced, and I don't want to risk that. So then Jolteon is like a secondary switch into electric types. Next up, we have my favorite boy. We have one of my favorite low tier Mons ever. It may well be my favorite low tier Mon. I'm very fond of fighting the psychic types, which is just very contradictory, but I'm just fond of those things. Next up we have Hariyama. Hariyama, that big boy with the fist, right? This is probably one of the better breakers on my team. I have a lot of good breakers on this team. I have a Zygarde, even Calm Mind Clef can be a breaker. Mega Blastoise, Reuniclus, Thorn Eye to a degree, and then Hariyama and Durand. So much breaking potential on this team. Ain't nobody bringing stall on my ass. I'm just gonna break through that shit with no effort whatsoever. I'm really looking forward to using the Flame Guts Adamant close combat and just click that one button and just go. Bring your ghost types in on me. I'm gonna knock them off and I'm gonna destroy the rest of your team with Facade. It's gonna be beautiful. I also like the amount of priority that I have on this team. I have Zygarde with extreme speed. Well, Mega Blastoise got Aqua Jet, but let's not go that kinky. Hariyama gets the Fake Out, the Bullet Punch. Kecleon gets 3 different kinds of priority that are viable in my opinion, which are Fake Out, Shadow Sneak, and Sucker Punch. So we all have that going. I have a lot of priority users, and then Torna I can obviously use the Prankster ability. So I really like that about my team. Hariyama is just another great breaker, another very, very valuable pick in my opinion. Next up we have Kecleon. Kecleon is another rocker, but Kecleon is very, very fat. It's a very good Assault Vest user. Its Protean ability allows it to change into any type I need. You can play mind games with that, with priority use, with dodging, those kind of things. So in that regard, I'm very fond of Kecleon as well. We're going to see how we're going to use that this season. I know that Leo, which is way back in the MBL, which is my first draft league that I ever participated in, like to run a Choice Band Kecleon, because it's still very fat. It also gets very shenanigan things that a lot of people don't know, like well, it gets all the elemental punches, for example, but it also gets things like Iron Tail or Crunch. I think it's Crunch. It also gets dark moves and those kind of things. So Kecleon has an amazing move pool, which it can abuse with its Protean ability very well, and it only cost me 5 points, so I was very happy with that. Next up we have my my lowest point Mon, Cradily, which is Nick, Belgian Extra Large. That motivated me so much to draft Cradily, because Cradily is a good rocker. It absorbs all your water moves. I needed like a water immunity, so I just don't lose to Suicune. And there are also some couple of tech moves that I really like that Cradily has, which I'm going to exploit this season. I'm going to name them right now. But I'm really looking forward to using Cradily, and I actually think I'm going to use it a lot. So hopefully that'll be a thing. And next up we have Durant, which is another nice speed tier that speeds the Keldeos and the Trachyons and the Virizions as well. So super looking forward to that. And it can be a good revenge killer with his hustle ability, and Home Claws is just an incredible breaker. I really wanted to make this my second Z captain, but I couldn't because obviously I ran out of Z points, and Zygarde is just too valuable to not make her Zmon. And it can be a good revenge killer, it can be a good breaker, it can do a variety of things. I learned that it also gets Baton Pass, so I also can keep momentum. Its move pool isn't huge, but its move pool is sufficient, because the usual things that wall, like bug types and steel types, are other steel types, and it gets access to things like Crunch, it gets access to Superpower, which is then the big one, because then that also hits steel types. And as soon as I can't hit anything on a team, let's say like a bulky Arcanine or something, I also get Stone Edge and Rock Slide, but the combination of Hustle and Stone Edge gives you 64% accuracy. I'm just not about that life. So I'm probably just going to Baton Pass. That's why it would have been nice to make my Z user, so I can get to Continental Crush to Arcanine, and then it just dies, really. But yeah, that is my video. The first week is gonna be against the Dragonite, and that guy is located right here. It's a very good draft. I'm really looking forward. There are a lot of good drafts in this. That game has already been played. Sorry if I gave you spoilers, but because of the scores are right there. But Tapu Fini, Terrakion, Metagross, Alolan Muck, Raikou, Mega Seta, Swallow, Incineroar. Well, he drafted Terrakion, so that's a scary draft on itself. And he sniped me of Alolan Muck. So I actually should have put a bet on this game. As soon as I win, he should trade Alolan Muck with me for... I don't know, I think I wanted it instead of... I don't know at what point I wanted it, because it doesn't make sense for my draft anymore. Because I completely didn't build like a different direction after that. But I think I wanted it after Reuniclus, but I'm not sure. But yeah, that got sniped, so probably should have put a bet on it. We didn't. I'm not going to do it now. And yeah, that'll be it. I'm really excited for this draft, and I'm really excited to be uploading again. Hopefully you are too. Hopefully this video is all and more that you expected. If you have any questions about my drafts, or why I did specific things I didn't explain, or whatever, things that you didn't understand, just put them in the comment section below, and I'll try and answer everything. So that's gonna be it for today. I hope you guys enjoy, and I will see you guys in my week 1.